NTA International News.
Senate at resumed plenary pleads to unite with Nigerians for calm after outcome of election. Nigeria police on red alerts nationwide to avert any breakdown of law and order. Hello there, so good to have you join us on NTA International News. At this time, I am Oku Ekpeyon. President Goodluck Jonathan has congratulated APC presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari on his victory in the Saturday election. In a message, President Jonathan assured him of maximum cooperation and smooth transition. The president has also congratulated the national leaders of the APC, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on his party's victory at the polls. Meanwhile, the police say they are on red alert nationwide to avert any possible breakdown of law and order that may trail the outcome of the presidential and National Assembly election results. The force has again advised all law-abiding citizens to go about their normal business. Bonaventure Modu reports.
May I respond? You cannot respond here. You cannot respond here. You cannot respond here. You cannot respond here. You cannot respond here.
Manuel Ojukwu says hourly reports across the Federation reaching the Inspector General of Police indicate that there is no cause for alarm.
We're not expecting any problem. But should there be any throughout the Federation, all the commands, the men are fully mobilized, they are motivated, and their morale is high. We have the determination to be firm. So should anybody plan to make trouble, such a person will not be allowed to have an easy ride through this country.
He said surveillance aircraft have been deployed to monitor development in all the zones. And in Abuja, the Commissioner of Police, Wesin Inalegu, disclosed that a motorized joint patrol of the police, the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps, the Federal Road Safety Corps, the Department of State Service, and others will be on 24 hours patrol and advise all residents to be peaceful.
We continue with our intensive motorized patrols. Local officers are all over the place, well prepared to respond to any exigency that might arise. But right now, I want to assure all that FCT is very calm, is very peaceful.
Commissioner urged the residents to help police with the prompt information. Mr. Nalagu also said that the police can be reached with the following numbers as quickly as possible. In Abuja, Bonaventure Wood, NTA News.
The Nigerian Senate has pleaded with Nigerians to remain calm, orderly, and exhibit high sense of patriotism and responsibility in response to the outcome of the presidential and parliamentary elections held on Saturday. Leader of the Senate, Victor Ndumagba, made the appeal while addressing newsmen shortly after the adjournment of plenary due to lack of quorum. National Assembly correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The Senate plenary, which resumed this Tuesday after a 2-week recess, could not last more than 5 minutes due to lack of quorum. The Senate President David Mark described the poor turnout of the lawmakers as understandable due to the high political activities in the country. The plenary has therefore been adjourned till the 14th of April this year to enable the lawmakers celebrate Easter and partake in the governorship and state assembly elections. Addressing newsmen shortly after, the Senate leader, Victor Ndoma-Egba, commended Nigerians for the peaceful conduct of the last elections, but said the peace enterprise must be maintained even after the announcement of results.
We should be lawful in our conduct. We should not take the laws into our hands. Election is a process, so whatever the outcome, after the process, we still have further processes, so we should follow the law.
Senator Ndoma-Egba regretted the inability of the Senate to pass the 2015 budget in good time, saying, however, that there is no cause for alarm as far as the running of government business is concerned.
Under the Constitution, you operate the old budget until June, the current aspect of the previous year's budget. So there is no constitutional lacuna. We still have the budget.
There were expectations that the budget would be passed by the Senate on resumption of plenary. In Abuja, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, less than one-third of the 360 members of the House of Representatives turned out for Tuesday's House sitting. Putting that in perspective, National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Okafor tells us that what transpired was not far-fetched from the national mood over release of last Saturday's election results.
Tuesday's plenary was rather short as members were unable to form a quorum in line with the rules of the House of Representatives. The situation Speaker Aminu Waziri Tambuwal described as unprecedented in the 7th Assembly.
So many constituencies results were only declared late yesterday. And of course, we're all waiting for the main one, the presidential announcement. So, Leader, I think we are adjourned tomorrow as agreed by the leadership.
House Leader Mulika Takonde Adeola moved a motion to adjourn plenary to reconvene on Wednesday, the 1st of April. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Okafor, NTA News.
Meanwhile, some stakeholders are expressing concern on the need for Nigerians to look at the post-election period as a time to display high sense of sportsmanship among the contenders and their supporters. This was the focus of discussions on NTA's program, Good Morning Nigeria. Amina Nujain has details.
NTA flagship talk show, Good Morning Nigeria, looked at the role of politicians and political parties in ensuring post-election stability and the transformation of the political process. Achieving this peace, discussants say the line must be drawn between jubilation and disruption of public peace, as well as between expression of discontent and perpetrators of violence.
Post-election crisis, the hoodlums, what they want is to start attacking things. I think this is not in order. If that has been done, because that building has nothing to do with the problem they have with whether this result sheet, it has no bearing at all.
We factored in the possibility of protests and maybe violence as the election results are announced. We took a cue from what happened previously in some other previous elections, and then we've read the temperature of the nation. And so we've prepared for the post-election days.
Addressing protests and complaints in the conduct of the elections by aggrieved parties, guests advised Nigerians not to jump to conclusion, but allow INEC work with political contenders to address issues on ground.
INEC will need to be very cautious in handling the complaints, because the way INEC chairman handles the complaints will also influence the behavior of the two principals.
Protests are expected in a democratic society, but every protest must be done in line with the rules. The police needs to guide the protesters so that they themselves don't become victims.
The role of security forces, the police and civil defense during the presidential and National Assembly election was commended, while the military was called to remain on alert. In Abuja, Amina Nujain, NTA News.
President of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Mohammed Garba, has commended the Nigerian media for their mature conduct during the presidential and National Assembly elections. Correspondent Anthony Folsom reports that Mohammed Garba was speaking at a media briefing in Abuja.
Mohammed Garba said it is heartwarming that the Nigerian media lived up to expectation during the elections and called on them to keep it up in subsequent elections. To politicians, he implored them to imbibe the spirit of sportsmanship as the outcome of the elections are being announced.
Nigerians should continue to be patient. We should try as much as possible to accommodate. We have to inculcate the culture of accepting defeat.
While condemning the assault on some journalists by security agents, Mohammed Garba said the union is taking up the matter with the authorities concerned. On the detained foreign journalists, the NUJ president, who is also the president of the Federation of African Journalists, said they are in touch with the Nigerian authorities on the matter.
I spoke to a local ID. He said they are investigating. I tried to find out what is their problem. The only excuse he gave me is that they have no clearance. So if there is an issue, let's know. Even if it's the police and they have an issue, they should take them to the police so that they can be prosecuted and then they can be taken to court.
In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
The prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, Fatou Bensouda, has reiterated her appeal to Nigerians to refrain from any act of violence as they await the outcome of the March polls and prepare for the general elections in April. In a message, she maintains that any person who incites or engages in acts of violence in the contest of the elections or contributes to the commission of crimes that falls within the ICC's jurisdiction will be liable to prosecution either by Nigeria's courts or by the ICC.
Violence is not a solution. The conduct of elections in Nigeria, free from violence, will not only prevent further instability in the country, but will also send a clear message that electoral competition does not have to result in violence and crimes that shock the conscience of humanity.
You're watching news on NTA International live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. A recap of the major stories. Nigeria Senate at its resumed plenary has pleaded with Nigerians to remain calm, orderly and to exhibit a high sense of patriotism and responsibility in response to the outcome of the election results. More news ahead. Nigerian government declares Friday 3rd and Monday 6th April as public holidays to mark Easter. And Guinea announces a new phase of Ebola virus following rise in new cases. Details of these and more after the break.
You are watching NTA, Nigerian Television Authority. For more information and news updates, visit our website at www.nta.ng, or you can follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now, or you can like us on Facebook at NTA Network News. Stay connected on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our live stream at www.nta.ng/live. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
News on NTA International. President Goodluck Jonathan has accepted defeat on the presidential election and has phoned General Muhammadu Buhari to congratulate him for his victory. Former head of state General Abdulsalam Abubakar confirmed this after his National Peace Committee met with President Jonathan at the presidential villa.
We were at the middle of a meeting with the international observers to try to see how we can still water the tension down. When gladly I called General Buhari, we were going to see him, he told me Mr. President has called him at about 5:15 and congratulated him and conceded defeat. We were spellbound. And the reason we have come here is to thank President Jonathan for this statesmanship. In the history of Nigeria, I think this is the first time where a contestant has called his rival to congratulate him. And through this point, President Jonathan has always maintained a point that the blood of Nigeria is not worth his presidency. And by his action, he has proved that. He has proved that he is a man of his words, because during our interaction on this peace committee, he has always maintained he is going to accept the result of the election, whichever way it has done. And he has proved this. And I think we need Nigerians, all of us, to join hands in making sure we assist him in a peaceful handing over. And I will appeal to all politicians, those who are celebrating and those who are sorrowing, to please give peace a chance to be moderate. In any contest, there is always going to be a winner. And President Jonathan has accepted that he lost, and we want to thank him. On behalf of Nigerians, I want to thank him.
Talking now defense matters, defense headquarters say a number of women, the elderly and children who were locked up by fleeing terrorists in Gaza have been freed by troops as cordon and search along with mopping operations continue in the town. The Director of Information, Major General Chris Olukolade, says the freed hostages, some so weak, are being given medical attention while others are receiving necessary care pending the arrival and activities of aid agencies. Some of them are also providing useful information for the intelligence in aid of troops' operations. The statements say a building which has been converted to a bomb-making factory has been unearthed by troops in the course of ongoing mopping up operations in Gaza. Massive destruction of infrastructure and property, including blowing up bridges and burnt houses, including Emir's Palace, has also been noticeable. Troops are also carefully removing landmines placed in various parts of the town. It added that in Bama, troops on routine patrol in the suburbs of the town recovered a large number of rifles and various arms believed to have been abandoned by terrorists who fled the area when Nigerian troops were advancing to flush them out of the town recently. The federal government has declared Friday 3rd and Monday 6th of April as public holidays to mark the Easter celebrations. A statement from the Minister of Interior, Patrick Abamoro, says the federal government enjoins all Christian faithful in Nigeria to extend the spiritual benefits of Easter, which is love, peace, justice, kindness, to their daily living. The statement also urges Nigerians to use the period to pray for peace and unity in the country. Nigeria's population of 170 million has been described as a huge market for investors willing to take advantage of President Goodluck Jonathan's administration's incentive. This was the view of speakers at the recently held Invest in Nigeria Roadshow in London. Wilkisu Abdurazak Odoye reports.
Dr. Dalhatu Sariki that represented said where there are people, you have markets, and so no investment in Nigeria can ever be in vain.
Take anything of commercial value, replicate it in that country, is going to sell like hot cake.
To decongest these facilities, the move is to set up this kind of border terminals outside the ports.
Other speakers, including the representative of Abia State Governor, shared their thoughts on the Invest Nigeria Roadshow.
And certainly Nigeria is high on the list of people like business angels looking to actually invest in projects.
Also to engender urban regeneration of Aba. In so doing, we're also looking at creating over 150,000 jobs.
There is no fear that an incoming government is going to actually make the investment not worth it.
The Invest Nigeria conference is aimed at showcasing the tremendous opportunities yet untapped in Nigeria. It is a public-private partnership project with the government of Abia State, expected to leapfrog the traditional open market system to smart market experience. An interactive session featured. In London, Bilkisu Abdurazak Oduoyi, NTA News.
Establishment of a voluntary unified force that member states can turn to when faced by security challenges is top on the agenda of the just concluded Arab Summit in Egypt. Brazil Zayano has an overview of decisions reached at the holiday resort of Sharm el-Sheikh.
Such a force can intervene to counter challenges that threaten the safety and security of any member based on a specific request from that state. And it looks like the current situation in Yemen is first of such specific request.
Nation has never had so much challenge to its corporate existence.
Tonight, the summit reiterated support for the Saudi-led Operation Decisive Storm in Yemen and unequivocally urged Houthis to immediately withdraw from Sana'a and hand their weapons to legitimate authorities, pointing out that bombardment will continue unabated.
Nobody accepts that a group of people can attack the country and pull down the state. Nobody can even believe that's happening.
This is one of very rare cases in which we find a very good decision taken at the right time by the Arab leaders.
Every coalition in the world has a unified force. So the Arab world does not have one. Now, since we have agreed to have one, and we agreed on the principle of establishing this unified force, I think that's a very good step.
Some countries, however, voiced reservation to the proposed military force. While Iran called for dialogue as the best solution to crisis, Lebanon stressed that any decision taken should prioritize Arab consensus.
All they agreed about the general idea. Some countries try to say, let's we agree, but just let us to think about it.
The Arab states also expressed their political and financial support to the legitimate governments in Libya and urged Arab League Secretary General Nabil al-Arabi to continue talks with the UN chief to place a course of action that includes a political solution to the Syrian crisis. Regarding Palestine, the summit voiced support for one-year budget starting April and also agree with the country's Central Council decision to revise political, economic and security relations with Israel in order to place more pressure on Tel Aviv to respect agreements signed. Previous calls for the unified force and other such similar schemes have failed to produce tangible results in the divided Arab world. Whether or not this one will succeed, only time will tell. From Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, Wazir Riyan, NTA News.
Following the rise in new case of Ebola virus disease in Guinea's capital, government officials have announced a new phase of that virus, and talks on Iran's nuclear program enters final day. Details of these and more with Obiageli Ugwoke.
Guinea's President Alpha Condé has announced new emergency measures enabling authorities to restrict movement in Western Guinea, where Ebola transmission continues a year after the epidemic was declared. Food and medical supplies would be given to affected communities. The president says emergency measures will last for a period of 4 days. In Uganda, the top state prosecutor in the trial of 13 men accused of a deadly Al-Shabaab bomb attack, Joanne Kagezi, has been shot dead in Kampala. She was targeted on her way home by motorbike gunmen. Officials say the trial of the men accused of links to the 2010 Kampala suicide bombing, which killed 76 people, has been suspended. As the Iran nuclear talks enter final day, negotiators try to bridge remaining gaps and hammer out framework deal that would be basis for a final accord.
The round of negotiations has a good chance of success if the participants don't bring forward any new demands which may change the balance that now exists.
Top diplomats from Britain, China, France, Russia, the United States and Germany, collectively known as P51, are meeting with Iranian officials in the Swiss city of Lausanne. Obiageli Ugwoke, NTA News.
In our sports package, Nigerian youngster wooed by the United States junior team, Venus Williams in cruise control at the Mini Open as New Zealand's former captain bows out. Let's join Fisai Ogunfuyi for details.
Nigerian-born San Jose Earthquakes midfielder Fatai Alashe is attracting interest from bigger clubs in the United States Major League Soccer after an impressive start to his professional career. The fast-rising Fatai Alashe, who was invited into the U.S. Juniors last week, is still eligible to play for his fatherland, Nigeria.
Obviously, it's a tough environment to go into and start your first game, but, you know, I try my best not to really think about that and just try and enjoy the moment, you know.
American tennis smasher Venus Williams has expressed satisfaction with her form after she beat former world number 1 Caroline Wozniacki 6-3, 7-6 on Monday to reach the Miami Open quarterfinals. Venus Williams is a 3-time Key Biscayne champion, but her most recent title came in 2001. Seeded 16th, Venus swept into the quarterfinals at the tournament for the first time since 2012. New Zealand left-arm spinner Daniel Vettori has announced his international retirement on Tuesday, claiming the Cricket World Cup was a perfect way to finish. The 36-year-old former captain and accomplished lower-order batsman had been widely expected to end his international career after cricket's premier event finished in Melbourne on Sunday, and he confirmed that decision upon arrival at the Auckland airport. With Sports News Update, Fisai Ogunfui, NTA News.
And that's NTA International News for you at this time. We thank you for watching. Bye for now.